Welcome, everyone, to Livestream Stars, where we feature talented broadcasters delivering high-quality content across Livestream platforms. And Livestream Stars is brought to you by Livestream Universe. Check it out, livestreamuniverse.com. I'm Ross Brand. We have a website just for this show as well, livestreamstars.tv. And some new guests have been added to the schedule page, so check that out. Next week, we have Jody Oken coming up. She's an expert in personal finance and financial aid for colleges, and she's also the host of College Cash Twitter chat and also hosts Blab. So very active on social media. It should be a good show. And tomorrow night, we have a special Ask the Expert, easy for me to say, edition of Livestream Stars with Austin Uliano taking your questions about Snapchat, calling it Snapchat 101. I know there's a lot I need to learn, so I'm going to be asking all sorts of questions about Snapchat. What does this thing do? What does that thing do? Why does this go this way, that way? I don't know. John, you on Snapchat?
Yeah, I'm around.
You're around?
Yeah, I'm around on Snapchat. It works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, our guest tonight probably needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway because it seems the way you do these things. Yeah. So Jonathan Tripp is the host of Jonathan Tripp Live, J-Tripp Live, every morning, weekday morning. You take the weekends off, right?
I do take and holidays.
Yes, excellent. Holidays as well. You can treat yourself well. Every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Set your alarm. If you're a late riser like I am, it's definitely one of the real great shows for building community here on Blab. John also runs the Blab Nation Facebook group. Drop the link in if you would, John. It's a terrific group, almost 500 members now, I believe.
Something like that. We're in that vicinity. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I guess, and you have a new course coming up, right? The Instagram workshop. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with that.
Well, Instagram workshop, it is literally as plain and simple as I can make it, because I think, oftentimes we get caught up in the so many tricks and techniques and stuff, but we actually forget how to actually use it as a social platform. So it's a 1 hour workshop that's really geared to somebody that wants to really get their hands around, Instagram and be able to use it for their specific business. It's an hour workshop, but there's also a Q&A time. So you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
That sounds good. And when is it starting?
Okay, I've got 2 times this week, and we are going from time to time. But I've got Thursday at, I believe, Thursday at 2:00, if I'm not mistaken. Let me click on that. And then I also have it on Saturday at 1:00, because I know some people aren't able to make weekdays. So I said, let's do it on a Saturday. So we'll go from there.
And is it like a webinar format, or is it a Blab, or what? You need to sign up first.
You know what? You do need to sign up.
What's behind the curtain?
That's right. Well, you do need to sign up, and yes, those are Eastern times. And do you have, or do I have? Somebody has here. Where's the link for that? I'm actually looking for it myself. But here's the deal, right? Is that I would love to have it on Blab here. I would love to have it on Blab. It is a paid course. Okay. It is a paid course. In all disclosure, it's a very short, very easy thing. And I do think I do have that link in there, but it's jonathantripp.com/Instagram workshop. Instagram workshop, it'll get you there. It's like $25, and we're going to go for like an hour of actual workshop time with some follow-up Q&A to try to help solve some problems and getting back to what I think social media is all about, and using Instagram to do it.
Right. And so, we mentioned Snapchat before we get to your focus on Blab. How are you finding Snapchat? It seems like everybody now is rushing over to Snapchat, trying to figure it out, trying to get used to it, trying to, post some stories and things like that. How's your experience with Snapchat been?
We've had their ups and downs. It really is. It's, I didn't know about it at first, and then somebody told me about it to look, and I thought, I was like, oh, this is really kind of great. You get to do some fun filters and things like this and draw on it. And I thought that was great. And then, I started to lose. I fell out of love. The honeymoon period was done. I started to fall out of love with the platform. And so I stopped posting stories for about 2-3 weeks. started watching some more people, and then talked with a couple of people. One of which is actually going to be your guest, Austin Giuliano. And he really kind of challenged me on it. And he says, "Look, I dare you to have fun." That's basically what he was saying. I dare you to have fun on the platform. And after that, I kind of let go of a lot of stuff. And once I started having fun with it, it's so easy to do stories now. And it's made all the difference. And actually, I enjoy doing Snapchat now. It's just part of, I call it Snapchat as my in-between moments.
Right. Coach Jenny says Snapchat feels playful and unnecessary. I'm going to keep trying. I figure I need to learn it better because I haven't really, I don't know. I mean, I put some things on there and then I forget about it. And then I'll have a day where it'd be like, okay, I'm into Snapchat today. So I'll snap. And then I'll have other days where it's sort of like, it didn't even cross my mind to do a Snapchat story. So,
right.
I figure I'll learn more about it and perhaps I'll like it, or perhaps I'll say, maybe I should spend my time elsewhere.
For me, it makes me a better storyteller. Mm-hmm. Not only because you have to think about your story, what you want to say, and that you have a shorter time to do it. You just can't go on and on. It's like an 8-hour blab or anything like that. You've got 10 seconds at a time and, things like that. But just the concept of being able to do that makes me be and want to be a better storyteller. So at least for that part, I'm loving Snapchat right now.
Yeah, Jenny Q says the purpose of it is to be playful and unnecessary. Sounds good.
Gotcha.
So when did you get started on Blab? And what was your progression that, you said, okay, not only am I going to do this thing, but I'm going to do it 5 days a week, start a Facebook group and just go all in on it?
Well, in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I started on Blab approximately 215 days ago from today even.
Wow.
215. I don't know how this happened. But the way I got started on Blab was actually by not starting on Blab. It was by starting on Periscope. And I was on Periscope for, a couple times in the day, just trying to meet new people and watch and learn how to speak. And Periscope is a different animal than Blab. It is. And I hope people treat it that way because it's different and we use it differently. But so I was on there and somebody, and I cannot remember who to give the credit to, said, "John, you should be on Blab. You're on Periscope. You should be on Blab too." So I kind of very shyly downloaded the app on my iPad, which wasn't optimized in any way, shape, or form then. And I accidentally called in.
Now it runs flawlessly.
Oh, now it absolutely runs flawlessly. And
no glitches whatsoever.
There's no issues with Blab in general. Is the Blab Beta? I think they've actually changed their name to Blab Beta. That's the actual official company name now. It's not Blab. It's Blab Beta. It's together. It's like Facebook,
Right.
I actually made a mistake and I called in. I was trying to read comments and slide up on it, and I called in. And before I knew it, my face was on one of the cameras, and I panicked. It was sheer and utter panic. I closed out of the show. I turned my iPad off and I left it for about a week. And I didn't even touch it. And so that was my intro to Blab. It was, awesome. No, it wasn't.
So first impressions aren't always the be all end all.
No, it wasn't. But I did get the push again. Hey, aren't you on Blab? I saw your name because the people started following me just because they knew me from Periscope and things like that. I mean, we're talking like 6 people. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like 6 people that I knew from Periscope that were on Blab. And so once I kind of made it over and we started doing a couple of shows, I did them side by side. You remember those days when we would do the Periscope on the phone?
And yeah.
That was
the simulcast.
Yeah, I call it MacGyvering when we're trying to get the guest on, and we just couldn't do it. So back in the day, 214 days ago.
So are you still on Periscope or
no?
Okay,
I don't need it.
Right.
I'm on Blab and Snapchat. Why? And
you are Facebook Living, or were you just trying it out? Like, are you thinking you're going to integrate Facebook Live into what you do?
I will. But here's the thing. My Facebook Live is going to be a lot more about me personally, because that's where my friends and people that I call friends and see them, that's where they know me from Facebook in that way. So for me to come on and do an Instagram workshop on Facebook Live, they're going to go, what? Like, I want to see your coffee and kids, you know, I mean, that's what they come for. But I mean, my Facebook Live the other day, I was seasoning the rotisserie chicken. Well, at least that's what I was doing. But we were talking business the whole time.
You know what I do for my friends on Facebook Live? Stay the heck off of it.
Well, I think, again, I don't want to be another on another video platform selling something else. I'm tired of it. Right. Just like, I mean, I don't talk about Snapchat every day, you know, I mean, or Instagram, you know, it's just what we do. We're real people with real interests. So.
Right. So, what made you decide to do 5 day a week and, you know, start the Facebook group and really go about building community? Was your goal to build a strong community, or were you just kind of liking it and it started happening?
Well, those are all different questions, and I love them. But I know what you're saying, because here's the thing:
you can take them one at a time.
Yeah,
like, well, and there'll be a test at the end.
Right? Yeah,
it's practice.
Yeah, and you'll get the answer on Snapchat, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing: I never started the show.
Subscribe to my list, and you'll get the. No. Go ahead.
There you go. Hey, that's an excellent way to get there. There's the marketer at heart, and then I'll sell you a check mark too. Which, by the way, did happen on my show with somebody else. Anyway, so I never started my show, and it's still weird, honestly, Ross, to call it my show, the show, right? I never started it to be a show. It was more of just hey, let's get together and let's talk about some things. And, you know, I would talk about some things that I felt like I knew a little bit more about that I thought maybe would offer some value, because back then it was kind of like the wild, wild west on Blab. There was really nothing consistent that I could find. So you'd have really great days, and then there would be really awful days where you just couldn't find anything. So that was kind of where I made the decision. I was like, you know what, let's do this. You know, let's be here every day. And I think I did pick 10 o'clock because I would blab at 10 and then Periscope at 1:30. Mm-hmm. And that was just my time. I wanted to be on at a time. And so that's kind of how it all started.
And since now you don't Periscope anymore, you just stay on Blab until 1:30.
Right. Just so yeah. I mean, it's logical if you really think about that.
Right.
So instead of and that's really kind of the point now is that I think Periscope for me and what I was trying to do and communicate, it became an obsolete thing. It doesn't mean that Periscope is outmoded. It's ridiculous. There's no point to it. No, it's just not working for me. So I stopped doing it. Mm-hmm. It's plain and simple.
Right. And so how about the Facebook group? What made you?
Oh, the Facebook group. Facebook group didn't start until December ish.
Really?
Yeah. I think about December. And I think it's right on that time. And what that really kind of was born out of the need and desire just to be able to talk about things after, or even, you know, we talk about Snapchat as being like the in-between moments. Well, this was the in-between conversations, in between our broadcasts. And even then, I really wasn't so focused on having a guest every day or doing interviews and things like that. It was really a lot more about trying to have better conversations. And the group Blab Nation became just that. We were focused on just connecting, finding different people to talk with, and then out of that is really kind of what birthed the show as it is now.
That's great. And you know, you've done so many shows now. Like you know, you probably have one of the bigger bodies of work or whatever. And I know you kind of pay attention to different things with the shows. What have you found that like accounts for why one show is more popular than another? Is it the guest? Is it the day of the week? Is it the topic? What have you been able to pinpoint what brings the audience in?
It's a soft science, and I'll say it like this: there is something to a title. Actually, there's a lot to do with the title. I've had really great shows, meaning the content of the shows are great. The interaction from those who are attending, just fantastic questions and everything like this, but there's only like 20 people in the room.
Right.
You know, and and it doesn't mean 20 people isn't bad. It's just, well, let's just compare to a larger audience where, maybe the guest was more popular. Or maybe the topic, one of my favorite episodes was Google Plus, just another pig and lipstick. Oh, that was a great title. And I had people coming out of the woodwork on that one. I had people seeing it on Twitter, signing up for a Blab account, and then got in to argue why Blab was, why Google Plus was not just another pig in lipstick. And I just, that was one of the more fun ones to debate on.
You're not going to be doing a Google Plus course, are you? Because I'm ready to go over there and ramp it up.
Yeah, it takes about 5 minutes. We'll be done. That's my Google Plus. Matter of fact, I'll be paying you to attend.
Yes, thank you. I was always kind of hard on Google Plus Hangouts because it was so complicated to get people who weren't familiar with the platform onto it and to attend and stuff. But lately, like last couple of days, I've been actually checking my Google Plus again after maybe 6 months of not even looking over there, or whatever. It's a very nice looking platform. I mean, your posts, like, I don't know. They didn't go about something right, but it's really not a bad platform. It just didn't take off.
It doesn't. I'll say this: the way I've always said it is that it just didn't feel social to me. It doesn't mean that you can't grow an audience there. I mean, there's plenty of people, and I even think probably if I looked, even some people in this room that have a solid Google Plus community. And I'm going to say a community rather than a following,
right?
But a community. And what I also find with that platform, in the same way that with this platform and with maybe a couple others, probably less so Facebook, but with Google Plus, those that are in there, they're really in there. They really like it, and they really comment, and not just like nice article. They'll write 400 words on why it's an awesome article.
But you have to use the community features, right? Like you have to be in the communities, not just posting on your timeline, so to speak, whatever they call it on Google Plus, and then hope that somebody knows. Right. So anyway, not to hijack this for Google Plus, just because I spent
it's a contrast
there again. So, you mentioned, there's a difference between getting a big audience and having a great conversation. What do you think the top? Can you distinguish between topics that like seem to really bring for great conversation on your show, and those are the ones like you've started to kind of focus what you talk about in a way because you're seeing certain certain results from that.
There's a really big temptation. I mean, there is a immense temptation to do a show after show, or at least once a week, on how to do a Blab show. I mean, that was doing one of those or a couple of those. The temptation is to do that. And I'll be honest with you, the reason it's tempting is because you get lots of draw. You get lots of people necessarily coming through the room. Not always good conversation. You sometimes have some great questions and things like that. But I like to do it every once in a while because it kind of stirs the pot, brings some people that are not normally, that wouldn't regularly come in, go, oh, I like this topic, I want to learn about it. But there are other shows that do a really good job talking about how to do, both the techniques and some things like that. So I don't really feel that I need to do it a lot. But every once in a while, if Blab does like a big update or something, I'll talk about it and make it a big point of the show that we do. But otherwise, I think having the better conversations really circles around actually thinking about what you're going to talk about, and not just kind of get on and go, so Ross, what's up? It just and those can sometimes.
I don't know. It's worked for me so far.
Well, I mean, you have a guest. We talk about things. But kind of getting on, and it's like the Periscope that the guy's just looking at the screen, waiting for the sitting to something to come on.
I'd like to welcome all the people on the replay. I'm just going to put my makeup on and
for the first half hour of your
I'm going to pull the car into the garage, and as people start to get here, I'll tell you how you can buy something from me.
Exactly.
But meanwhile, tap up the hearts
but that's
I'm sorry. I just don't get Periscope.
No, it's a different animal. And I will say this: I cut my teeth on Livestream, on live video, with Periscope. Not speaking wise, but just it's a different animal. I've always felt that with the Periscope, I feel like I'm constantly pushing. Like it's more of like a sprint than this feels more of, in a good way, an enjoyable way. This feels more like a marathon where I'm going for longer, and I'm going, I don't feel like I have to jump to topic to topic, and keep the conversation going, because if there's any dead time, people are going to stop watching. Blab is a totally different feel to it. It's a different culture. And with it, I feel like I can have a more authentic conversation in the way that I would normally and regularly in person have a conversation. Whereas Periscope, it feels a little more artificial, like you've got to put on a little bit more of a show. At least that's my experience.
Yeah, Catch Penny says Periscope is awesome. I'm going to unlock the seat. If you want to jump in and tell us why, you're welcome to. If anybody wants to jump in with questions for Jonathan, definitely jump in. I know you all know, most of you know John pretty well, so love to hear what you're interested in asking him about Blab Nation and about Tripp Live. One of the things I think with Periscope too is that it does have its uses where it probably, well, Facebook Live now is going to challenge this, but Periscope was probably the best place to pull out a phone and capture an event, right?
Right.
Like you capture a speaker, you see something going on in the street that shouldn't be happening, whatever, right? Like here it is, here's the moment, I got it, right? Which is different than sitting there and showing people how you wash the dishes in the evening, or exactly. Here's me sleeping, like they did on MeV for a while, or was it MeV? No, it was something else. There was another one where they were just doing people sleeping, but
like I don't have enough content to consume already.
Right.
Include sleeping now. Live stream sleeping channel. It was Meerkat. It was Meerkat.
Meerkat. Okay. So where do you see Blab going in the next 6 months to a year? Do you see it like moving into the mainstream? Do you see it like picking up more of a following, or some celebrities coming over, or do you think
that's the question? Boy, you're pinning me down already. This is like, it's like a Phil Donahue show.
Caller, are you there?
Caller.
Hello, caller.
So this is what I think of Blab and where it's going to go. Okay, I think the competition is going to get more fierce and diversified. Okay, whereas I think at one point Blab really was the big thing for this type of a live video. This was the place to model, to fix, to break. And I think going forward, I think we're going to be able to be more discriminating with the other platforms that shall rename nameless at the present time. But I think the platform that's going to do the best is going to be that which develops community the easiest. And that was one of the reasons why early on I wanted to have a regular presence on a show. Then the idea of starting a group, a community group around that became important. And I saw the importance of it partly because, and we know a couple of weeks ago from the taping of this broadcast, that it was hard to move around and find shows within Blab as a platform. But our community, what they did is they started posting their links, hey, this is where I'm at. This is the show I'm doing, and so on and so forth. And we would, promote each other's shows out in the different platforms and the different spheres that we were in. And I think it really worked well. And I mean, and so we'll actually see where Blab decides to go in the next 6 to 12 months.
Rachel Moore, really social. At Rachel really asks, do you think Blab is headed toward freemium?
No,
I
don't.
You think it's going to just stay free?
Is it going towards freemium?
Yeah.
I think there are going to remain some free options. I have a feeling that they're going to go and be adding on some extra features, and how I don't know. I wouldn't know how, even though they've said this in the past. We're going to remain a free platform. They also said that they had no interest whatsoever in having private rooms.
Right.
I remember that conversation. So I don't necessarily, guys, it's Blab Beta. I mean, that's again, Blab Beta TM. I don't hold them to their word hard and fast, because I think they are trying to develop a platform. They're not selling a platform.
And they do have to find a way eventually to make some money off of it. So one way would be to offer people private access to, or an enterprise version, or something.
Pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, pay-per-view. I'm thinking like boxing goes on.
Well, hey, we've got 4 squares. It's on.
In this square.
Yeah, why not? If you opened up more, I would do a Hollywood Squares episode.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. I could probably figure out some way to do it. Get more people in.
How awesome would that be?
All right, in 3 weeks it's on. That's it.
Thanks for the question, Rachel. And Rachel Moore has a new Let's Livestream Twitter chat that's got off to a really good start last week. It's Wednesdays at 3 p.m. and I'm actually going to be the guest this week to talk about Blab and broadcasting. So that's Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Let's Livestream, hashtag Let's Livestream. So join us, please. Please do. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about Snapchat tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern with Austin Uliano. Ask the Expert. Again, I'm struggling with that tongue twister there, but that's what we're going to do tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here on Blab. So, John, we don't know where Blab's going. We kind of know where it's been, but they're approaching about a year anniversary, and I've seen people who really committed, like you have, and some other people here, start to back off their involvement some. But then there have been other people who've come to the platform, and I think you're getting more people who are viewing Blabs rather than just, view and then I'll host tomorrow, right? But just enjoy the conversation and all that kind of thing. But lately, it's been a little tough to find Blabs. I mean, I've noticed like the last couple of weeks, my viewers have been down. And in fact, there was a Blab that I went to watch that was pretty popular, and other than going to their website, I wouldn't have been able to find it, even though I subscribed to it. So I don't know if you've noticed any sort of technical issues or if that's had any. Yeah.
No, absolutely, I have, I want to be careful that I don't say, well, it's all Blab's fault, because I don't necessarily think that, in the same way that without developing a community, it really is just it's a one-off Periscope. You just happen to do it again and again. There's really it doesn't feel that there's a rhyme or reason to it. So that's one of the reasons why I think developing community is a big part of it. Even if you're not doing a daily show, you could do a weekly or a monthly show. I think the whole point is that you bring value on the platform that you're going to be on. Have something really actually to talk about. Let people know what it is. And I honestly, I think people are they're starving for really good content. That's how I feel about it.
Right. David Vaughn asks, if you could do one thing different from when you first started, what would that be?
Oh, David, you know my heart on this, and I kind of mean it that way. And I didn't even pay David for this. I think the first thing I probably, right? No, if I was to start all over again, kind of knowing a little bit more of where I had wanted to go with it, I would have started right away by developing the community and my email list to communicate with my growing, or to be at that point, community. It's just, do both and let the email list be a chance for me to be able to connect with them, especially when things weren't going right that day on Blab. I can't even tell you how valuable it would have been, but I'm like 8 months behind the I don't even know what the thing is, but I'm 8 months behind the ball. There we go.
Thanks, David. Great question. And I think, one of the things, at least I found, is that when I was trying this out, I didn't have any assumption that I would necessarily be doing it a month later or 2 months later, or whatever, because you don't even know, is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to watch what you do? Are people going to want to come on your Blab? All those kind of things. And then, you sort of have to catch up once it goes somewhere. You only want to invest so much time, I think, in the beginning, when you're spending your time figuring out the platform and whether it's going to work for you or not, right? So, I think it's sort of natural, although I think we all kick ourselves a little bit that we didn't plan more when we started out. Jennifer Quinn asks, "What have you learned from building a Blab community, a Facebook community rather, about Blab?"
It just happens. The artist
Blab
happens
Nation
to be
Facebook community.
Probably one of the biggest things in the actual, I'll give you a couple of perspectives. One, the overall one is the community is not about me. That is something that I've learned, but not like the hard way where I've gone, through some struggle or something. It's not like that. It's more of the more I talk with people and the more I interact in the group. And a lot of it is now becoming not on the page itself, but it's in the message chats. It's in the finding people on other platforms and engaging them, finding on their own blogs and stuff. The more I spend time in the group, and it's so fascinating, it's so fantastic. The more I realize it's not about me. It really is about the conversation with the people in the group. Now, what have I learned as a community manager? Which is, I think, Jen, I think that's probably what I think you were probably asking. What have you learned, in building a community? I think the best thing is to be pretty specific with what the purpose is. Be ruthless with how you protect it. Be absolutely ruthless. Like I am ruthless with the block button in my blabs. And it's not like it's not like, oh, you spoke out, as much as just saying, no, you don't. What you're doing here does not belong. Mm-hmm. And because I'm pretty clear with the rules, you don't stay. And that really, to the point now where something weird happens or odd or something doesn't seem right, people report it right away.
Right.
So,
and I think, you're one of the reasons why you were drawn to Blab in the first place versus Periscope, is you kind of said before, is that it is about the conversations and it is about getting other people's ideas and much more. Blab feels like a community, right? Periscope is like a monologue. You're like up on stage holding a phone, talking to yourself and hoping, they don't come and drag you away.
Right.
Where Blab is a real conversation. But I think if you're going to do good things on Blab, it has to be about other people, whether you're showcasing other people or you're delivering something that they want. Ideally, yes, that's every platform, and that's Periscope too. But Periscope's so vast in terms of people just babbling that
there's a lot more content,
right?
But it's not necessarily. I find it very, very, very difficult to find the content that I want to, and that's probably one of the biggest hurdles that I think that if Blab is going to be really successful, they need to figure out a way for me to be able to find the content that I want to.
Yes.
Without me knowing that I want it yet. Mm-hmm. You heard me say it, but y'all know, y'all thinking
I want to see in my news feed, right? Like they just you click something, you like on somebody's post twice, then all of a sudden you see everything they've ever done, right? Like, and then you go, I won't make that mistake again,
right? And you start like you become like shy. You don't want to click the like button or the heart button or whatever. Or give them props. Maybe the props should influence who you see in your. No, please don't do that. Please, that's a bad idea. That was a really bad idea.
Axel Happy asks, are many blabs for people who have otherwise have no voice, like to hear themselves without real content? And I mean this respectfully. So could you give a respectful answer to that question, Jonathan?
So are blabs for people who otherwise have no voice? I think there's a time and a place for it. I don't know what this platform would look like in a positive way if every single user produced some kind of a quality show. I mean, I already have hard enough time trying to pick what shows I'm going to be able to watch and what shows I'm going to have to forego there's only 25 hours in the day, I mean, well, at least as a father, it feels like that, right? So I have more stuff in my day than I have hours. That's why I said 25, not 24. I can count, I know, but that's how fast, that's how much coffee I drink. But, so I think the bottom line is I think there's a time and a place for everybody's show. Just make sure you're really clear about it. If show's going to be about nothing, then just make sure people know about it. And don't try to pretend that it's not.
And Blab's basically, all these live streaming platforms are really the democratization of broadcasting, right? So it gives everybody a chance to have a voice and have a show. And with that, you're going to get some things that aren't very good, right? You're going to get some things that would never make it on TV or never make it on some other kind of medium,
Right.
but have an intrinsic value to people. And you're going to find some stuff that's probably better and never would have been found, either because it means a lot to you, or you just, can sort of stand back at 20,000 feet and look and go, that is killer, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
you guys know good content when you see it.
right. And so it gives more people a chance to produce good content than would ever have a chance in a world with only smaller broadcast opportunities. And so with that, of course, comes a lot of things that, I don't necessarily need to watch, but
Right.
it's part of it.
I can't watch. It's like saying like this. I can't watch a documentary every day.
Right.
All the time. I can't do it. Like it's just too much. So I like to have the casual ones. There are times where a show about nothing is just fantastic. It's just what I need. It's just what I was looking for.
Right.
But there are other times where it's like, look, I just want something really good. Can someone please produce a good show that I can watch?
Right.
You know?
Right. Zeph asks, John, your advice for anyone who wants to start a live show here on Blab.
Oh, that's a really good question. Any advice? I would just say don't be afraid to be specific about your topic. Don't let social media be your overall target. That's too large. It's like saying I live on the East Coast. That's a really big place. Be really specific in it. And don't be afraid to try some new things, have fun with it, but really have an overall goal in mind. If you would like to try to build a business out of it, do that. Don't be afraid. Step up, and you'd be surprised the people that come around and support you. Share your vision.
Thanks, Zeph. Rachel Moore asks, from that broadcasting perspective, how do you think traditional broadcasters are adapting to Blab and other tools?
I don't think they are.
I think they're using like local news channels are sometimes streaming their broadcasts on different places, and even like sending their reporters out where they like cover the story and then they show you something with their phone on Facebook Live, like, here's the crowd gathering, or, we didn't get to talk about this, but I wanted to pull over this person and ask them their opinion. So it's like little additional stories. But I think basically the people who are broadcasting professionally, for the most part, are so busy with their jobs that, to do this, to use these platforms really is it's a little too much work, right?
I was going to say, I think you're being really nice in it. I'll say it a different way, and I'll be the bad cop. Okay. I think that they either are afraid of it because they don't know it. It's a foreign thing, that you did bring up some of the examples that some reporters or newscasters, they're doing a periscope, and I've seen it where they're doing a periscope, and they stop it in between, or sometimes they just mute it or something like that, and while they're actually doing the show. And then you've got like in the street reporters with it. I think that is so far and few that it almost doesn't count as legitimate use. That's accidental. But I think far and wide, I think one, they're afraid of it. Two, I think they actually look at it as it's beneath them. They're professionals. They have a studio. They're doing this on such a high quality level with, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, not millions of dollars worth of equipment. And here I'm sitting in a spare room with a light on and a $24 webcam.
Right.
It just doesn't compare to them. And that's how they think of it. Like, oh, it's just live stream.
Well, I think there's an element as well as if you're paid to do something all day, you don't necessarily want to do it for free to a smaller audience for, kicks later. Like most of us are using Blab, at least in part because we enjoy these conversations. We enjoy doing this. But if we were professional broadcasters all day, we just might not want to come home and like, okay, now I want to broadcast in my time.
Again.
So I think that's a big reason. And I think the best stuff that broadcasters do is like what any other kind of public figure does or company or whatever, and that's give you a little bit of access on Periscope, on Facebook Live, where they show you, behind the scenes of a person that they're going to talk to, or what their studio and their office looks like, or when they're going on the road to do a broadcast, they show you a taste of the trip or whatever. Things like that. It's not something that gives you behind the scenes. Better stuff than what I'm mentioning here as examples, but that's the basic idea, I think. So Vanessa V asks, what kind of shows do you think are missing on Blab? I've seen marketing, news types, and a food show. What do you think would prosper on Blab?
Well, what would prosper on Blab and what I haven't on Blab?
Nothing's really prospering. I mean,
I've thought about this and I just haven't put it all together. I would love to do a product review Blab, but not like good products. I'd love to do one of those like really awful Amazon, like the Hutzler 571. It's the banana slicer. I would love to do a show on those, right? Whether I'm just watching or something, like I would it'd be fantastic just to read some of the comments. Are just it's pure gold, guys. It's just pure gold. I think I would like to see, I don't know how well it would work. I'd love to see a music show. Not necessarily like The Voice or something like that, but I don't know. I can say that, can I? Yeah. But I don't know if I could, something quite like that. But it'd be interesting to see like a music show, a variety show of some sort, maybe a game show. That'd be fun.
Right.
Because we have so much so much serious stuff. We don't have really good quality silly stuff.
Right.
I can't believe I just said that.
And I think like anything else, right? If you're going to do silly, you got to do it up, right? You got to be really funny. And people are doing a little bit of silly, but they're holding back because you don't want to. Yeah. You don't want to make yourself into a clown where people can find it a day later. And, thanks, Vanessa. I think also people are prospering here, and a lot of people are prospering on Blab in terms of getting clients, in terms of, building their personal brand and things like that. But, in terms of like companies prospering, I think, a show in which, hey, Shelton, a show in which companies would like demonstrate a product to like onboard new customers, or just take questions like, okay, I know that a lot of new users of this service have questions. And you just sit there and you have somebody who knows how to answer questions about it and is familiar with the product to actually spend an hour answering questions from customers. I mean, I think that would not only increase customers' competency in using the product, but it would raise a lot of goodwill. So that's something I'd like to see. Hey, Shelton, you have a question?
Hello, Howie. Yes, I'm more of an observation. What you guys are talking about has been talked about ad nauseum here on Blab. In the 200 days that I've been on Blab, it has been talked about repeatedly to such an extent that it's almost surreal that essentially we're talking about the same things that they were talking about when I got here 200 days ago. Because, we all talk about how to improve the brand, how to expand the universe of Blab, et cetera, et cetera. There is Blab's Got Talent, which is sort of a variety show. And people are always doing different things, but really the issue is the Blab team doesn't seem to have much of a growth strategy at all. And that is why Blab continues to be very small. And with that, I will leave you be. I don't want to hijack. I don't mean to Blabjack.
No, you're not hijacking.
I will
great point.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Like John said.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Thanks, Sheldon. Do you want to add anything to that, or just?
I could go on for another 215 days on that topic. But I mean, I think generally speaking,
well, we're stopping at 8:00 either way.
Okay, so we're going to stop at 8:00. But I think the overall issue comes down to this. I'm going to say it in this regard, in the same way that I look at every other platform. I do not think it is Twitter's job to facilitate or to organize, Twitter chats, or for Facebook to help manage my Facebook group. I'm going to say, okay, so that's the one balance side to the argument. And what I think out of that becomes, it really puts the onus on us as community members, as broadcasters, if you will, to come up with better shows and to really do the best that we can to be a community, our own community. Because like I said, I mean, I'm hardly ever on at this time of night. I'm usually on 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. You know, it's usually, I don't like this middle ground stuff. I'm either, really hot or really cold. I don't like any of this stuff. My whole point really is that the community, it's up to the community members to produce better content, period. That's the thing. And while he's going on, we'll ask Melissa's question. Melissa, has your engagement on Blab improved your business? And if so, how? Absolutely. The answer is absolutely. And here's the reason why. It gives me another chance, another opportunity to be able to engage with audience members in a way that I don't think that I would have been able to. I said audience, I meant clients. It helps me be able to engage with them in a way that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. We don't have this kind of interaction on Facebook. We just don't. Like even maybe with the video chat, we could get a little bit of interaction, but there's no way that I could do what I'm doing right here with Ross on Facebook or Periscope. It just doesn't work. So absolutely, I think it improves business by putting yourself out, especially if you're consistent. They're going to know, and they're going to get to know you that way.
Cool. Thanks, Melissa. And I'm back.
Been there, done that.
It's a little trick you can use to disappear. You just close the browser when you meant to do something else.
Yeah, you just close the browser and just see
bye.
Show still goes on, whatever.
So, Axel asks, watch out. We're planning a road show on Blab for recruitment, worldwide positions, how to design resumes, how to get headhunted, etc. Yeah, good topic. I did a Blab on career issues, career coaching kind of Blab. Hoping to do more of those as well. So now I know we got competition from Axel doing a road trip.
You got to strike. You got to strike first, man.
Yeah,
you got to get in there right away. There's none of this like waiting for other people to do stuff. Now, but we talk about this. Some of the things that one of the things that I think make and are really important on Blab and within a community and developing it. And I'm going to say it in these terms. I would just encourage people to go out and start doing something. Don't sit on the sidelines going, well, I really wish there was something. Even if you don't feel that you can do it yourself, collaborate with others. Huge factor, especially in this platform.
Right. And I think just to, we may come across at least I feel like I come across maybe a little bit negative in some of the things I say. And that's because we love this platform so much. At least I do. And I want to see it succeed, and I want to see it grow, and I want to see it be around a year from now, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. I want it to become mainstream. So, the criticisms, at least, if I have a criticism, probably the same thing with John. It's more like out of love than it is out of we want to throw dirt on different platforms. We like most of these platforms, and particularly like Blab, or we wouldn't devote so much effort to spreading the word about it and encouraging people to, do shows and learn more about it. You agree, John? Or
no, I do.
Otherwise, honestly, for you. So
otherwise, I would have quit probably in November when there was the talks about the mass exodus from Blab. Mm-hmm. I would have quit then. That would have been the time to quit, not after I've done another 60 shows, or I don't know, whatever it is now.
That's when I was just getting started.
Right. I mean, that's like the warm-up period. I doubled down. That's why I started the Facebook group. I said, no, let's make a home. Let's make this thing, and let's try to help the Blab team have something solid to build on. Because if nobody's doing shows, what's the point of? I mean, if nobody's actually not a show, but if nobody's doing a broadcast, then what's the point of the platform? Just a whole bunch of watchers and no producers.
Hey, David, you look like you went for a walk in the woods, huh? That's no, you Blab.
My backyard. So.
Oh, okay.
And I just came out because it's actually a nice evening. It feels like spring, so out and about. Are you guys getting any wind noise?
No, it sounds good. A little bit, but not enough to disturb anything.
Okay. I just wanted to come in and give my support to Jonathan Tripp. He's grown as such a person, as an individual. You really have. You know what? I bet there are people in this group, and I'm being absolutely serious. There are people in the group who have known you maybe longer than I've known you, or just as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
And the mannerisms of you and the way that you carry yourself and the way that you carry conversations and the way that you have turned the view of what you're trying to do, has changed, has grown a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, David. But it's important.
Well, it's true. It doesn't get said enough. And I think, I don't know if it's Blab that's done it or if it's the community that's done it, as you let yourself go. I heard you say it earlier, and you've let yourself go as the primary. You pushed everyone else, and then you pushed me out of the group, but that's beyond the point.
That's totally different. You get an invite back just for this.
I don't want to invite back. I've moved beyond. I've ascended.
I'll just take matters in my own hands and I'll add you, because I know people who run groups love when people just start adding.
Random ads. By the way, I'm adding everybody that's in this Blab tonight. I've kept track. I know who you are.
But I think it's important to know. I just wanted you to know that I think it's important that you know. And you know what? People can go back and they can look at the interview that I did with you, which was months ago.
Right.
Versus, and by the way, folks, when Jonathan says that he doesn't show up at this time of night on Blab, the only reason he shows up is if he's the star. So just to let you know, that hasn't changed.
Still true. It's the second time I've been on at 7 o'clock.
The village of Tripp will always take over. I can promise you that, and that's exactly what's going on. I'm sure Holly right now is probably pulling her hair out, going, "Jonathan, get off!"
When are you done? That was the question, by the way. That was the question. She's like, "When are you going to be done?" I know when Ross lets me go, the chains come off, and I can go.
All right. Well, we won't go past 11:30 tonight.
Okay, that's a deal.
So anyway, and like I say, I'm sure in the comments people can sit there and say that they've seen you grow, and you get beautiful wind chime noise in the background that sits there and confirms that.
Yes. What timing?
Me and God were like that, We sit there and work. God, I need wind chimes,
Cue the chimes.
Got half of them. That's right. Right there. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks, Ross. Great show.
Man.
Thanks, David.
I enjoyed driving around and listening to it.
Sounds good.
And distracted driving.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. Okay. All right. Have a good night.
All right, man. See you.
Let's get to this question quickly. Rachel asked, "Can we talk tech? What do you recommend for best Blab results? Lighting, audio, equipment."
All right. Without getting techie tech talk, of things, I would say this is that it pays to have a good workable setup. You can have medium quality video and better quality audio, and I think people permit it because you can go no video and still good audio. I know some people really disagree. But I would say this, look, if I'm having a really rough time connecting and I have to drop out video and you can still hear me, that's at least acceptable. But if there's very poor audio, but great video, I have no idea what you're saying. And it's really hard to do. So I would say most of the webcams out there are going to be decent enough. I'm not joking when I said a $24.99 camera that I bought 3 years ago. That's still what I'm using. I do have a better microphone now, and I spent $12 on lights. Yep. The best lights I bought were at Home Depot for like $6 a piece. They're the painter's lights. Did you know that? Yeah.
So my answer basically confirms what John said in an even more extreme way, because I've given no thought whatsoever to lighting or video or anything, but I did try out several microphones. Mm-hmm. And you can get a decent microphone for around $50, and I can recommend a couple if anybody's interested. But basically, there's the ATR 2100 and there's a Samson something USB one that's like around $50. Both of those are almost the exact same mic, and they sound great. I think they both sound for what we're doing. I mean, right? Like if you're doing a radio broadcast or whatever, you might want to go higher. But for what we're doing, they're both great mics. Yeah, definitely. Catch Penny asked dynamic. Definitely go with dynamic mic. I don't know why so many are pushing condenser mics, but dynamic mics are great for that because you don't need a studio or anything. But that's, I think. What do you do in terms of your setup there? Because you can see I have a distracting background, right? And you have a solid background with nice lighting. And you said you didn't do a lot with it, but you've done something with it, and it's made a big difference.
Right.
So, like, can you talk a little bit about?
I will. And after the show, after we do the recording, I'll show you what's just over there. With just some of my setup, but I won't do it on. I'll do it off the record at that point. But really, I've actually tried a bunch of things. I have actually moved to a room that I can close the door in. This is just a regular painted, wall. I had a black background, and it just didn't work well with me. I know other people, it looks fantastic. It's so right on. It just didn't work with me. I tend to like to be a little closer to the screen rather than farther away. And I think some of that's because of the way my microphone is. I think the next piece of equipment that I'm going to actually purchase is a boom mic, as much as I say that. But I think that's going to be one of the things that I say. The other thing I would say is if you can try to be hardwired in. If you want to do a consistent show, I think that's the case.
What's up, Tiffany? In 3, 2, and 1. Anything? Okay, thanks for stopping in.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks. That's a great question, Rachel. And you bought yourself a separate webcam from the one that's on your computer.
Yeah. Well, I have I'm on a desktop,
okay.
So there is no, it's just there's no, it's a separate webcam. I don't have one built in, which is fine because I like my monitor the way I do, and then I just take it with me. So, and now the setup is so that I can actually go on the road as I need to. So,
thanks, Rachel. Great question. That could be a subject of an entire show, just what kind of gear to get and how to set it up and everything. You good to stick around and take a few more questions? If you're not, we just wrap up. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's great. Maya says, today I recorded a podcast in an unlisted room and could never find the recording at all. Is it lost? Can it be possible that my whole interview just disappeared? It's possible that there's a delay in processing the replay, but I don't know because I've never done an unlisted.
It should pop up the same way. Keep in mind that my entire Friday interview, both of them, have not shown up yet under my profile. Okay. And I had multiple hosts, so it wasn't that I wasn't on specifically. I think that they're running so much in the background. I think they're just having a hard time. And the best thing to do is to reach out to them. I believe it's just look them up on Twitter, Blab 911. I think that's the best way to do it. So that would be my suggestion right off the bat.
Thanks, Maya. I guess I'd be curious as why you chose to do it in an unlisted room rather than. I guess you're just using the technology, right, to record the podcast. So you're not looking for interaction, call-ins, things like that. But your guest was shy. That too. That makes sense. Yeah. Jay Solomon,
which is a good reason to do it.
Yeah,
it really is.
Definitely. Jay Solomon asks, I've been trying to figure out how to end the blab and get the recording. I read a tip that says to close the tab, but that's not seeming to be something I've figured out.
No. Let me tell you just kind of my experience is that, remember when the drop-ins first started getting issued out and we were all playing with it. Well, those who had it, we all played with it. And I started one on, I think it was like a Friday night, and it wasn't, I hopped in, I just put some music on and things like that. Right. And when I got done, it wasn't recorded. There was no guests or anything like that. So I just closed the browser. And you guys know, I just generally speaking, I don't come on the weekends and things like that. No one told me. So you talk about community, they left me high and dry because this blab stayed open for 2.5 days. So I came in on Monday and there was a show going and I just was like, what? The thing is, you got to X that sucker out. You got to exit out. You got to close that thing out. If you are recording, hit the end record, stop recording button. And then once it stops, then you can start to go on. All right. But just don't abandon the broadcast, because I think that throws all sorts of weirdo glitches.
Once you stop recording, then all you have to do is close your browser, right? And you're out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you've got a drop in up there, you need to X that out too, if I'm not mistaken.
Durham Skywriter asks, what is this Blab bot somebody mentioned a couple days ago? I haven't heard about that.
The Blab bot. Just do a little bit better describing that, because we might be thinking of the same thing, just calling it a different thing. So,
meanwhile, Beauty Bubble says, I tried something today, recorded our first podcast on GarageBand and replayed it back. The review was it sounded perfect. Anyone else with experiences with GarageBand? I have GarageBand on my laptop, and I just played around with all the music samples and thought it was cool, but I haven't really figured out how to use it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you a Mac person or a PC?
No, I'm PC and Android.
Yeah, I love Android phone. So
yeah, I'm all I have so much prejudice and bias against me now. You realize that, right? I get almost hate mail because of it.
Cindy Harrison asks, do you have to unhost people before you close a Blab?
That's a really good point. If you like them, you don't have to.
They'll just get the Blab, the what do you call it? Like the raw audio, the raw video. It'll show up in their replays. Mm-hmm. But you just click them out if they don't exit out themselves, just to close the Blab. But unless you unhost them, they'll stay on as hosts and get the video and audio, right?
Right. That's basically what it is. They have before and during the Blab, they have certain host privileges and things like this. They're able to help manage manage the groups and the chat and the drop, and they have all those features. And when the Blab ends, they get that email. Now they weren't getting it for a little bit. They've put that back in. That is the nice thing. The other thing is it shows up under their profile as something that they were in.
Right.
So for me, I when the Blab Lounge was going hard and strong, I got co-hosted in that one time, and that showed that I was on all the time, and I really wasn't. So I had to go back in. And I had to ask somebody if they would just unhost me.
Oh yeah,
from the Blab community,
because that thing never ends, right? that's
it's always on, or some version of it. So I just said, no, please don't. And I just make sure that I'm not hosted on it. So,
okay. Thanks.
Because I also have that linked up to my website.
Cool. Thanks, Cindy. Durham Skyrise is a bot is exactly what it does or what it says. I don't know anything about it. Do you?
Nope. I don't run one. So I don't need one. I've got kids, so I don't need bots. Excellent.
Do you have a question for John? In 3, 2, and 1. Thank you.
All right.
I'm too generous who I let in. I let anybody in.
You are. I don't let eggs in.
You could see from 20 miles away that wasn't going to be a question.
It was just, it's Jenny's just saying, stop it. Just stop. Bob, be the Bob Newhart. Well, stop it. Just stop that. Stop doing that.
Like the other person, when the phone is held up to show only their eyeballs, right, chances are they're not going to have anything to say.
They're probably not. Although I've had some pretty decent. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's a different thing.
How do you get rid of somebody who keeps calling in? Besides locking,
I ban them. I block them.
And how do I do that while they're calling in? You show caller, and then you X them.
Yep. And then you go into their name. It pops the little profile up, and then you hit the X. The little triangle button.
Okay, perfect. X. Goodbye.
That's it. That's how. And then they stop showing up.
Oh,
for this show.
Okay. Oh, and then it tells everybody I blocked somebody from the room. Nice.
Oh, nice. I usually see when you're a host, you get to see who it is. At least that's the way it was. Now it looks like it just says that you blocked somebody nameless. I wouldn't know who it is.
Oh, he says he wants to talk. Oh, well.
Okay.
I think he had enough time. But anyway, don't want to focus on that. So, what do you have coming up? You have the Instagram workshop.
That's coming up. That's coming up this Thursday. We have one session on Thursday, and we have a repeat session on Friday. And so that'll be, honestly, Ross, I really just hope that we have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not a boring webinar. It's really meant to answer questions, go through and help people really just get a good handle on how to be better social on Instagram, using Instagram for your business and things like that. And, if there's a lot more network marketers in there, then I'll gear it more towards network marketers. It's, like I said, it's not a pre-recorded webinar thing. So I've got that. I just dropped the link in. So it's jonathantripp.com, Instagram workshop. And then we have our show Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which I always say, just stop by. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about Livestream. Dun, dun, dun. Right. I do these shows every once in a while. Tomorrow's, yeah, right. Right. Brand new time. We never talk about this, but it's that time. About every 3 weeks we talk about it.
Cool. And the Facebook group, right? Blab Nation.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/Blab Nation.
Yeah. Do I still have it? I think I have it right there. And you guys are welcome to join it. I usually try to stay on top of the requests because otherwise it gets ridiculous.
Right.
It really does become ridiculous, and there's very little point in trying to stay up with it. And then I have to outsource that, and it's another bunch of people I have to try to help.
Right.
I have to outsource my requests. So.
And the link for my Snapchat show is on the right side there. I don't have the exact link, so just go to my profile and it'll be what's coming up next. And that'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Austin Uliano. Ask the expert. Any questions you have about Snapchat, if like me, you're trying to still figure out this platform, Austin's a great person. He hosts a show. That'll be 7 p.m. Tomorrow night. And then I'll also be on the Let's Livestream Snapchat, Twitter chat, Snapchat, Twitter chat, Snapchat, Twitter chat, the Twitter chat on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So Beauty Bubble asked Jonathan, when will you have a Blab Nation summit? Yes, when will the entire Blab Nation be gathering together?
Blab Nation Summit. Oh my goodness, right? No, that would be amazing. I've had actually somebody challenge me and said, John, I'm not going to do a summit unless it's on a boat. They want a Blab Nation
The Blab
cruise.
Nation
they don't
cruise. Yes.
So
come hear your favorite
I do have
speakers.
a couple of ideas. I would be more than happy to do that. However, I've never been on a cruise before, and I'm not really sure I'd be like the idea of getting on there. But I do like the idea, because you guys know I'm in Virginia, of doing somewhere in Virginia live stream meetup. You guys just did one for New York City, and I'm so jealous because I wish I could have been there, but I couldn't. It's just a little too far, and the schedule didn't work out. But I was thinking about doing one in Virginia, but then at the same time, maybe doing a larger scale virtual summit or something like that. And I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so I just want to chime in on the person that said that they won't do it unless it's on a boat. What would the point be of having something where people should be interactive with the internet, and something as bandwidth intensive as a video streaming? What would the point be of putting it on one of the most un-internet friendly, that's the only way I can think of it, things in the entire world? I mean, you might as well go up to the top of Everest and you'd probably get better signal up there.
No, we just want people to
my
pay big money to hear the same speakers in a cruise setting that they could hear for free 3 times a day on Blab.
So everybody would have in-room cameras.
Right.
Has to leave I got you now. Okay, actually, okay, that's a good idea.
That's a totally different show.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't actually live stream it. We would.
Everybody would go broke off of room service on a cruise ship.
But people could buy the entire video collection afterwards, like the time.
And all it really is just a bunch of slides. That's all it is. Single frame slides. Maybe just
your favorite
8,000.
hits, John.
I'd get my gifts back.
Live stream. Ross Brand talks live stream stars.
Right.
David in
Blab
front of
Nation.
the green screen.
I love it.
No, I was just wondering. That was my question. I was like, oh my god, nobody sat there and thought that'd be in. Somebody's probably planning it. So Anyway.
Yeah, but as far as doing a live stream meetup, I could go for doing a couple of those.
I was planning one until North Carolina went and did what they did, and now that Bruce Springsteen's not coming, nobody else is going to come to the friggin' state.
Right, I know, right?
But we can go to Virginia, right? We can go up to Richmond.
Yeah, you can go up to Danville. Danville.
We'll go up to Salem.
Point.
That's what.
How far are you from Richmond, John?
I'm actually only about an hour ish.
Right.
Depends on who's
what do
driving.
You do 64?
I'd never go to Richmond.
On 64?
I just don't go there. Because that means I'm on the way to DC, and I just don't go there. I go up through the Blue Mountains. Anyway, that's the way. Right now, we need to do a
retreat.
Time to get
not summit, a retreat.
Yeah, Zeph is the one who organized our awesome meetup in New York City. That was just a blast.
That was just a blast. We missed Jonathan Tripp so much, right? We were hoarding the restaurant table, John, and everybody else, and we were like, we hoarded the hotel next door's table after that. It was supposed to be a 2-hour meetup. It turned out to be a 5-hour meetup because we had so much fun.
Right.
Yeah, 2 different stops. One place we went to, a hotel. They moved our entire group into a back area. Yeah, it was so much fun.
It was hilarious.
Everybody was drinking water.
Oh
yeah.
Thanks, Alfredo. Hey, Shane.
I had like 3 or 4 waters until they cut me off.
I know.
They wanted me to be safe walking to the subway.
Ross, they didn't know what to do with us because we were so like happy yippies, and they just didn't know what to do. They just like, do you want to move over to this side? You made nice space at the table. We're like, yeah.
I'm gonna pause I'm gonna pause the record. All right, and thank you so much, John. It's so great having you on Livestream Stars. Check them out, Blab Nation, the Facebook group, and it's J-Trip Live every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Set your alarm. Make sure you're up. One of the best shows on Blab. And I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, with a special edition of Livestream Stars focused on Snapchat. And then Wednesday, catch us on Let's Live Stream the Twitter chat. We'll be doing Twitter chat with Rachel Moore. So have a great evening, everybody.